We're on our way to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to visit the gravesite of Quanah Parker, considered to be one of the greatest and the last Comanche chief. Quanah was the son of a Comanche chief himself, and his mother was a captive white woman. There was resentment at first because of his white blood. However, because of the respect of his father and his proving his ability to lead against the white man's army, Quanah himself was later made a war chief. His grave marker reads, "Resting here until daybreak and shadows fall and darkness disappears is Quanah Parker, last chief of the Comanches, born 1852 and died February the 23rd, 1911. However, it's doubtful that Quanah himself even knew when his birthday was. Lying next to Quanah is his mother, Cynthia Ann Parker. Cynthia Ann was born of white parents on the 29th day of October, 1827. She died the 28th of October, 1870, at the age of 43. This is Cynthia Ann looking very much like a Comanche woman. Only her blue eyes give her away. She had 3 children, Quanah, Pecos, and a daughter named Toxana. Cynthia Ann, at the age of 17, married a Comanche chief who was himself 8 years older than Cynthia and one of the raiding parties that took her hostage. This is Cynthia Ann's Comanche husband and war chief, Pettinacoma. Most chiefs of his stature had several wives. However, because of his love and respect for Cynthia Ann, he only took one. On the 19th day of May in 1836, over 500 Indians poured through the gates at Fort Parker, which is now located in East Texas. While the men were out tending the fields, only 5 were left to defend the women and kids. The Indians quickly killed the men, including Cynthia Ann's father. They took 9-year-old Cynthia and her brother John, who was 6, and a 17-year-old aunt with a baby and another aunt of Cynthia's. Next to Cynthia is Toxana. That was Quanah's sister and her mother's daughter. Now, Toxana died of a fever a few years after her mother and her were recaptured and returned to the Parker family. Cynthia Ann stated for several years that she hoped to be rescued, but in time give up. After living for 24 years with the Comanches, she and her daughter, Toxana, was recaptured by a company of Texas Rangers. They were trying to capture her husband, Pettinacoma, and his warriors. Unfortunately, Petta and the 2 boys were out of camp. Now, Quanah and Pecos were not in the camp, so they, along with her father, escaped. They returned Cynthia Ann and daughter to her white family. She was heartbroken and tried to escape several times, trying to return to her husband and sons, later being told that they were dead, and Toxana dying of a fever a little while after. Cynthia Ann stopped eating and soon died. Now, you're looking at the Comanche graveyard at Fort Sill. The Apaches are buried in another graveyard because they don't bury their enemies together. This is Paladura Canyon. The last battle that Quanah fought was with the 4th Cavalry on the 28th day of September 1874 at this stronghold that was used by the Indians. The cavalry under Colonel Randall McKenzie attacked several Indian villages in the canyon, destroying food supplies, burning lodges, and slaughtering over 1,400 horses, knowing that this would leave the tribes helpless. Quanah, along with other tribes, surrendered and returned to Fort Sill. He soon adopted the white man's ways, which his mother could not do, and became a wise spokesman for the Comanches. When drought struck and the wealthy cattlemen such as Charles Goodnight and others wanted to graze on Comanche land, Quanah proved to be a knowledgeable negotiator. And Quanah became one of the wealthiest Indians in the nation by investing wisely. Although he adopted the white man's ways, he simply refused to give up his 7 wives. They say he ended up with 25 children. This is the Star House that Quanah demanded that he be built. It looked just like the commanding general at Fort Sill, and they built it for him. It's proven that he was a great chief in war and an even greater one in peace.